Hi guys, this is Angie from Little Dumplings Nursery, and it's Sunday afternoon about 4 o'clock, and I'm just checking in with you probably for the last time before Thanksgiving. Had a few things I wanted to show you, just wanted to chat a little bit, and hope that you guys have a fabulous week. I don't know how many of you may be traveling. Some of you may be actually doing the cooking. Some of you may have family coming to your home, and I just want you all to know that I hope you have a very blessed Thanksgiving. I hope your travels are safe. I hope you enjoy and have just a wonderful time with your friends and your family, and that you are surrounded by love and happiness. And also this time of year, let's remember those who have not had the best of circumstances, those that may be not able to be with family this year or don't have any family, those that have suffered losses. Our hearts and our prayers go out to you all. We want you all to know that you are loved and you are cared about, and I just hope everyone is touched by joy and peace during this holiday season. Hey Sandra, I'm so happy you joined us this afternoon. Sandra Whitfield is a great friend, and she has not yet gotten one of our babies for herself, but she has gotten one for her granddaughter, and that's exciting that you're watching. So a couple of things I wanted to show everyone. I recently finished a baby called Tacy, and I've had a lot of questions about Tacy, and I wanted to show you Tacy on live video, so let me grab her right quick. Okay, I might need to tilt my camera down just a little bit. My head's going to be cut off, but you'll be able to see the baby better. So this is a Tacy Winter sculpt called Tacy. She is a very large baby. She's 22 inches long. She's very full build. So you see she's got thick thighs, and she's got long sleeves, so it's kind of hard to, I don't know if I can pull the sleeves up to show her arms, but she's got real full, chunky, very healthy arms. She has full arms and full legs. She has a larger size head. So I painted Tacy with the fullest intentions of selling this baby and offering her to you guys for a purchase. But something that sometimes happens to me, or actually has not happened to me but a couple of times, and that is that I have just become totally emotionally attached and cannot let go of the doll. So I've had a couple of people to write me and ask if they could purchase Tacy, and I just don't think I can let her go right now. So she's going to be staying with me. I have recently been writing a tutorial. I had written a tutorial on painting what I call my Peachy Baby using the RebornFX paints, which is the air dry paints that Melissa George had developed that I used for about a year and a half until they were discontinued. And so I am now, as many of you know, using RebornFX paints by Macpherson Crafts, and those paints are a great alternative, and I've been very happy with them. But some of the qualities of the paint are a little bit different. They have a little more sheen. The mixing is a little bit different, and that kind of thing. A lot of people, though, that were using RebornFX have switched to the RebornFX and wanted to know what colors to use and how to achieve some of the same looks. So I talked with them, and one of the things they did was they took some of the most popular colors that RebornFX had, that many of us were using, and they color matched them and then produced them in the RebornFX paints. And they gave them the same color names so as not to cause confusion for those that are trying to find color matches to the RebornFX paints. So I have rewritten my tutorial for the Peachy Baby skin tone, and I have done it using the RebornFX color matches and then a couple of different shades in the RebornFX colors that I also added to the tutorial to come up with the skin tone that I call the Peachy Baby skin tone. And I started with a different kit. I actually sold that baby. I think it was Naomi that I started the tutorial with, and then when I finished Naomi, I went back and wanted to make some revisions to my work in the tutorial. So when I started on Tacy, I went in with her using the same tutorial and then made revisions along the way. And so this is the end result after doing that. So I'm pretty close to having the tutorial finished in terms of there's a few little tweaks I want to make to color mixes. So I've decided I'm going to take Tacy with me to the IDTS 2018 doll show, and I will have her in my classroom where I will be teaching a painting class on painting with RebornFX paints. We will be painting a Tacy Winters kit, but it won't be this one. It will be Denver Rose. And Denver Rose is a smaller baby than this. She's a small newborn. I think she's 18 inches if I remember in length, and she's a sleeper like this, and so she's very similar. So I'm going to take this baby with me to IDTS so that everyone can see what the finished skin tone should look like using that tutorial, or could look like. Everybody's interpretation is going to be a little different because we all apply things differently and that kind of thing. So she'll be going with me to IDTS 2018. If I decide to sell her, it will be after that. But I'm right now thinking, my thinking is that I'm probably going to keep her. I was real happy with how her painted hair came out. That was another thing you guys know that I have been really working on. I've been studying pictures after pictures after pictures of real babies' hair. And then I also got a Linda Moore hair painting tutorial that I have been studying. And so I'm still not there in terms of having my art perfected to the way I would like it to be, but I'm a lot closer than I was. And so I'm very happy with how her hair, in comparison to my previous babies, I think you can see definite progress here. I got a really nice 3D look on her hair, and I was really proud of that as well. So, and you can see she's got the little baby hairs and that kind of thing. So I was happy with that. She cuddles very well. If any of you have thought about whether or not you would like the Tacy as a reborn, she's a nice, even though she's very big, she's a good armful, she doesn't feel clunky. She feels very cuddly. Marita is very good at sculpting her baby so that they have that cuddle factor. So like you can take her and lay her up. Like I used to carry my babies like this, and you can put a little arm up, the little legs just curl into you, and you can just see she just snuggles in very well. So she's a great, great baby. I may eventually get another kit like this and paint it and offer it for sale. But it won't be anytime soon because I've got several other kits that I've got to work on in my stock that I want to get sold. And then I also have a few kits coming as well. I just got in Journey, which I did a box opening for her the other day. This morning I hit the Bountiful Baby sales and I ordered 3 Reborn kits. I ordered Dominic, Reese, and I can't remember, Joseph was the other one. And when they come in, I'll do a box opening and show you guys those kits. The Reborn kits are really nice, and they're the photometric scans of real babies. So, and there'll be some babies that I can offer in a little bit more affordable price ranges. So anyway, that's what's going on with Tacy. So let me lay her down. Now, I said that it hasn't been often that I have fallen in love with my own work and couldn't let it go. But this was the other baby that I painted that I fell in love with. And this one I did a couple of months ago. This is Summer Rain. And she's still bald, as you can see. I want to eventually go back and paint her some hair, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. But I have another Summer Rain kit. She's a Reborn kit, so she's a photometric scan of a real baby. Now, she's a 19-inch newborn. She's a real chunky little baby with a real round little head. She reminds me a lot in build and size of my youngest daughter, Marissa, when she was born. She was like this, a very compact, chunky little bundle. So Summer Rain is awesome in terms of the way she's made, if you like the full looking little babies like this. So I do have one more of these kits right now in stock. If anybody's interested in having Summer Rain as a custom, don't hesitate to email me and we can talk about that. But I couldn't remember if I had shown her to you guys before or not, so I thought I would just pull her out today just for fun and let you guys see her. Betty Ann says she's getting the Linda Moore tutorial to learn. It is a good tutorial. It is a lot of information, You'll want to study it. I've had mine for over a year, and I keep going back to it. Some things I do differently than her. I don't always use the same kind of brushes that she does, so that's one thing that you're going to find that you're going to have to figure out which brushes that you work best with. And some brushes you're able to get the strokes you want, and other brushes you're not. I think one of the biggest things that I have been trying to overcome is that when I paint my hairs, to try to get them to have a flowy look of movement rather than making them look like little straight lines. So so working on that, and in the tutorial she shows you a bit about how you connect, like you draw a line this way and then you come around this way and then you connect, and how you give it a 3D look. That is something I'm still working on, is not being so stiff-handed and being and flowing more with my color, my brush strokes. And I'm getting better, but I'm not where I want to be. But like I said with Tacy, I was happy with how that turned out. And so one of the reasons why I had waited on painting Summer Rain's hair was that I wanted to kind of practice a little bit more, since this was my keeper baby, and I thought I would practice a little bit more on some of the babies that have been running on the budget specials. But I'm really excited because I feel like I'm finally starting to get a little bit of a better understanding. There's another little thing I wanted to show you guys that I got that I just thought was a cool little thing. This is a donut pillow. I got this at Family Dollar, and it was $6. And the reason I bought it, and it was back in the toy section, and I have seen these before. A couple of years ago I saw them at Five Below, and I haven't been in that store in this year, but usually around Christmas time they have them in there as well. So you might could get one for $5 in Five Below. But the reason I bought this is a really good pillow for displaying babies on, because it's got the little hole in the middle so they can kind of lay into it. And I thought about wanting to play around with it some at home, and if I like it, I may go back and get more. That when you're doing a doll show, this would be good to have on your table, and you could either lay a blanket over it that color coordinates with your babies and have several, or you could, if you wanted to do a donuts theme, you could have, you know, the sweet treats theme, then you could use it for that as well. The doll shows that I've gone to in the past, they've recommended getting the blow up little tubes like kids play, the swim rings that kids play in the pool with, and I have done that, and you can let the air out of them, and they are good for travel because they collapse down, especially if you're flying. But if you're driving in like I have, then you might have more room to pack something like this. This is easier, but it's pretty good size. So I was going to take, this is Coco Malu, however you say it. I'm going to show, like if I were, and I'm going to try to hold this up where you can see it, but you can see that the baby, let me see if I can lay him on his side. These are good for newborn size babies. You wouldn't want to go any bigger. So there, your baby lays on it like that. This color looks more realistic. There we go. So it's pretty good for that. And of course it's definitely real good size for the preemies. So that's just a little cute thing I wanted to show you guys. And I also wanted to mention I still have this Coco. I sold the one that was dressed as a girl. This one I have advertised as a boy. However, if you are wanting to purchase this baby but you had your heart set on the girl, the only difference between this baby and the one that was dressed as a girl is she had a grayish blue or bluish gray eye, and he has the dark cobalt blue. But as far as the clothing goes, I can redress this baby as a girl. And I wanted to show you guys, I actually, when I bought these outfits, I hit the sales and I found a really good sale on them. So I have in my closet several of the little girl outfits. So here I have 2 extra ones, and these are the sizes that they need. So I have these new on the hanger. I can definitely redress Coco as a girl and sell this baby as a girl if you're looking for a little girl. And you're wanting the Coco Malu sculpt, then be sure and write me and we will work that out. The same with, I still have Sookie, who was dressed in a rainbow outfit that kind of looked unisex. Then I changed Sookie up for Christmas because I think Sookie's skin tone looks so fabulous with red. But this outfit does make Sookie look a little more like a boy. Now we could put a big red headband on Sookie and girly Sookie right up and make this a girl baby. Sookie, by nature, the kit is a girl. So if you wanted Sookie dressed in pink, let's see if I can turn this collar down here. Kind of hard to do without taking it off. But anyway, if you wanted Sookie dressed in pink, certainly have the pink outfit that we could do that. It comes with a little pink hat. And so we could girly Sookie right up. Tell you what, let me find my scissors here and I will take this hat off and put it on Sookie's head, and you can kind of at least see what Sookie looks like with a pink hat on. We can do that. Okay. There we go. So see, if we had Sookie dressed as a girl and we had the pink on, we could make Sookie look more feminine. So there we go. That gives you a little bit of an idea. But anyway, so just wanted to throw that out there. Sookie's been marked down to $250 plus shipping, and Coco is $300 with free shipping. I am running a Black Friday special that if you wish to purchase both of these babies, I will sell them to you both for $500 with free shipping. So that's $300 for Coco and $200 for Sookie if you buy them together. And then the shipping is free. And that's in the United States only. If you're out of the United States, I don't really ship much out of the United States. I do ship to Canada some. I have shipped to Europe, and the only way I can ship out of the country is if I do express mail international. So if you're willing to pay the shipping to have it shipped that way, then we might can talk about that. But the free shipping only applies to in the United States. So that is what I wanted to say about that. As I think Forrest Gump says, that's all I have to say about that. A couple of things. Let's see. Let me check and see who's in here. Thank you, Jody. Betty Ann says she's got a pillow like that she uses for rooting. I've got one, and I couldn't even tell you where it is right now, but I got from someone for rooting as well. But it was actually, mine doesn't have a hole in the middle. Mine is just it was actually made as a rooting pillow, and it's got a specific cloth that's made to where it doesn't rub the baby's face. Of course, as you all know, for the most part, I don't root hardly ever anymore, just because I have tendonitis in my hand and arthritis in my shoulder, and I've had back surgery, so the bending over rooting is just kind of almost impossible. I do it every occasionally. I'll root a small head, but it's not very often. Jody says Brooke is coming back to live with me. Brooke, I'm not sure what you're talking about, Jody. You'll have to let me know about that one. Okay, so I also wanted to show you a while back I did paint some baby rattles. I've sold a couple of them. I still have 3 of them left. I was selling these for 20. I can't remember if I said 20 or 25 plus shipping at one time, but for my Black Friday special, you can buy them for $15 each plus shipping. So you can have your choice of the owl with the little blue owl bow, and shipping on these runs, I'd have to look. It depends. I think, well, Priority Mail is going to be about $5.95. If you want first class, I think it runs about $4.50 or so. It depends on your zip code. Of course, if I ship it to you first class, it's not insured, so you would have to be understanding that if it gets lost, I'm not responsible. But that is the little boy owl. This one is the pink one. That's the little girl colored pink owl with the owl bow. And I hand painted all these myself. I assembled the rattles, painted them myself. They are solid wood balls, so they don't rattle. And then this one is blue and yellow roses. There's that one, and it's got the blue, there we go, down at the bottom, a yellow in the middle. They all have antiquing, gold antiquing on them. And to give you an idea of the rattle sizes with the babies, let's see. They're just right for the newborn size babies. You could put them with a preemie baby. They might be a little bit big for your preemie baby. But that's to show you up next to Sookie's head about the size of them. And then of course the bigger baby it works fine with as well. I actually had the pink one just laying in the crib with Tacy, and it looks fine with her as well. So I have these 3 rattles. If anybody's interested in those, email me littledumplings@gmail.com. There's no P in dumplings, and I can sell you a rattle. So that was something I wanted to show you guys. Let's see, I was going to also, thank you, Betty Ann. Products. Well, we're going to talk about products. So I introduced you a few weeks ago that RebornFX had come out with new Air Dry Sealer and Air Dry Varnish. And they also have a matting powder. Here we go. Alrighty. So it is now available on their website, and it comes in jars. And the reason being, and I've already shaken mine actually when I picked it up a while ago, but you can start to see it a little bit on this one right in here. You can start to see it. These sealer and varnish have the same matting agent in them that you can buy separately. I don't want to get my words tied up. You can buy it separately as just the loose powder. So this powder, this matting powder, is what makes these products very matte. And because it is a dense product, it does sink to the bottom. So they are now selling it in jars. So that the idea is that you open your jar up and you take a craft stick and you stir it, or you take your paintbrush that you'll be applying it with, but you want to take something and stir it from the bottom to get everything evenly dispersed. And then you apply it to your doll. Both of these are very fluid. So let's talk first about the sealer. This is called matte sealer. So the RebornFX matte sealer, what you do with it is after you've painted your baby, whether you paint it, hopefully you're using RebornFX paints because I really like them and I think they're great. But some of you may be using a different brand of paints, and that's fine. If you're using a different brand of air dry paints, you can use this sealer as well. Also, the awesome thing about the RebornFX paint line is they are compatible to all other air dry products that are acrylic based air dry paints, including even if you have like some golden or Liquitex. Let's see, I've got some somewhere. So like I have a box here of the golden paints, which are just your golden fluid acrylics. So you can use these to paint your dolls. They will work fine as well. You can use these with your RebornFX paints. Now, the huge advantage of the RebornFX paint line is that there are so many colors to choose from that are specifically mixed and color mixed for painting on vinyl dolls so that you can get the skin tones you want. When you buy paints like these, you've got more of your primary based colors, which if you're a purist in that you paint primarily or predominantly with primary colors like your red, yellow, blue or whatever, then you may, something like this may be all you need. But anyway, you can take these and mix them with your RebornFX paints to get different color tints, bring color tints to these. You can mix your RebornFX paints with your Miracle Blend paints. If you use Miracle Blend, you can mix them with Liquitex paints if you're using that. You can mix them with, I think, I can't remember some of the other brands, maybe Honey Bun, some of the other ones. I will tell you that, especially now with Miracle Blend, they already have some mediums in their paints, and I'm not sure exactly what all's in them. So you have to play around with that when you start mixing those in. But if you're using artist grade paints like Liquitex or Golden, you're getting pure paint, pigment, and emulsion. That's all that's in these. So these would mix better. But once you mix the two colors together, the only thing you have to do to make them compatible is, let's see, where's mine? I've got some somewhere, my emulsions. As you just mix some of the emulsion in. I don't know where my big bottle ran off to. My desk is an absolute mess right now. I apologize. I keep turning it back to you guys. But anyway, this is a sample bottle I have of it that I use like in class. But they have a product called emulsion. And if you add a couple of drops of this to any other brand of paint, then you can mix that paint with your RebornFX paints. So anyway, I kind of got off on a trail there. But any air dry paints that you're using, when you get done painting the paints, the purpose of the sealer is that it sets your paints. Excuse me. So it is like I said, and you can see it in the jar. See how you can see it's almost like milk. It's very fluid. You take your sealer, stir it up good to get the matting agent dispersed, and then you're going to take your sealer and you can paint it on your kit and then pounce it lightly with a dry clean wedge, or you can paint it onto your wedge and then take your wedge and pound it, set onto your kit. It's a matter of preference. And then you let that air dry. That product does two things. This will help to matte your paints down some, because your paints, because of the mediums and the binders in the paints, especially the RebornFX paints, they're going to have some sheen. And so this will help to matte it down some so that you can look at your kit and get a good feel for how your final product's going to look. The other thing that this does is it literally seals the paint. So this is what helps to bind your paints even further to the kit, to the vinyl, and then it seals them off. And I really, really like this product because I find it works very, very well. And then you want to let your paints cure for about 48 to 72 hours. I like to let mine sit for a week. But you're going to notice after a week that the sheen in the paint starts coming back through. And that's just because this, along with other products in your paints, they all have binders in them. And binders just by natural attribute have some sheen, or dry as they cure with some sheen. So you're still going to want to put something over your baby once you're done that will take away the sheen. Now you can, if you don't want to use a varnish, you can apply a second coat of this and call it done. After you've applied the second coat and let that cure. You're still not going to have, it's going to look more matte when you apply it for a day or two, and then as that completely cures, it's going to go back to having some sheen. So it's not going to be a totally matte look. But you can do that if that's your preference and you like that. But most of us prefer to apply varnish. And so, as you all know, in the past I have mixed Genesis Heat Set matte varnish with satin varnish for my final finish, because that's the look I like. And I've tried a lot of air dry varnishes, and I found a couple that I finally liked pretty good. But RebornFX has now come out with their ultra matte varnish. So here's the ultra matte varnish, and it also, in mine, as you can see, it's a little faded because I've been using this. I have sealed 4 babies from this now, and you can see how much I have used. And you can also see, now mine's been sitting here, you can start to see the separation. So you want to stir that product back up. Now once you've stirred it up and you've applied it to the baby and it dries, the particles that are the matting powder that's within this product, they're going to be evenly dispersed on the vinyl, and this varnish is going to lock them down, and it's going to be matte, and they'll be fine, and they won't go away. It leaves no texture in terms of a roughness like you're used to with Genesis and other type things like that. So this product, then you want to paint, you brush it onto your baby and pounce it lightly with a wedge and let this air dry for 48 to 72 hours. It will take on a slightly dewy look once it's done. I have found, and in all honesty, it's not quite as matte after it's fully cured as it was when it was first applied, but I have not been dissatisfied with the look. You can, if you really want to, you can go back and apply a second layer and matte it further and let that dry. I have not done that. And I just showed you Tacy at the beginning of the video. She was sealed with this sealer. And as you saw, she's a beautiful baby with a beautiful finish. She was not shiny at all. So you might want to, once this video is over and you go back and look at it, go back and rewind the video, go back to the beginning and look at Tacy again. And you can see she's just got a very nice dewy look. She's not dry matte looking, and she's not shiny. She's just slightly dewy. So I've been really happy with it. And I even had to go back and add a medium to like her eyelids to make them more moist looking, to give them a little extra sheen like I wanted, like you do with the babies when they have that little bit of a wet eye look. So that tells you that, you know, it does dry pretty matte. So I'm really happy with this product. Now people have asked me, well, why should I pay for this when I can get one of the other products you recommended? I think DuraClear is one of the ones we've used, and then some of you like the Soft Touch Varnish and have been mixing it with the cornstarch. And those are great products. They work fine. The reason I like this is that I know this was specifically formulated to go on vinyl. And I don't know what the matting agent is. I can tell you it's not cornstarch. So it has a little bit of a gray look to it. But so I just feel really good that I know that I'm getting a good quality product that was made specifically to go on the vinyl. But that's the biggest advantage, I think, to this. And it's easy to apply. That's the other thing, is that the other varnishes, this is more watery. For like I said, it has a very fluid-like consistency, so it's very easy to apply. It's not tacky, so that's nice. Now I will tell you that anytime you're painting with the air dry paints, using the air dry sealer or varnishing with the air dry varnish, you do not want any of your pieces to touch each other. You want to put them on separate little pegs, or I use like a wine glass drying rack. You want them to be separated to air dry, and I like to give everything a week. And the reason being is until that has fully cured, they can stick to one another, because the binders in the paints or in the sealers they're like glue for your paint, for lack of a better word, to causes it to adhere to the vinyl. So until that's fully cured, they can stick. They don't feel sticky or tacky. I don't mean that, but I just mean if you let an arm lay on top of a leg, they could actually bind to each other, because those binders, as they are curing, are still active. So you want to give it good cure time before you start assembling the baby. But now that my baby's cured, I've got her assembled, I've had the arms lay on the legs and all that, and I've not had any problems with anything sticking to anything. But you just need to know, and that's not just these products, that's with any of your air dry products. I have found that to be true with like the glazing gels, the fluid matte mediums, the things like that you add to your paint. So that's just something to be cautious of when using air dry products. The matte powder, I think I've showed you guys this before, if I can tilt it up, but that's the matte powder, and it's not coming across on the screen because of my bright light up there, but it does have a slightly gray tint to it. So I don't know, like I said, what it is, but it works very well. And all of the RebornFX products are non-toxic. There are no known adverse effects to human beings using these products. They are safe to use, and that is something that I'm just really thrilled with, is to be able to actually seal a baby, not have to put it in the oven, and not have to expose myself to any toxins. And I'm not downing or knocking the using products that have to be heat set, because I do still sometimes use some of the heat set products for various things, but you have to be very, very careful when you do so. So this is definitely a good plus here. And I know I just threw a lot of information at you guys, but I wanted to tell you that. Another thing I wanted to just quickly make mention of in regards to painting is I've had a lot of people talk about mixing paints with water and just painting with water, and why can't we, you know, why are you even adding binders to your paints? And some people say, well, if you use really good quality paints, the paints themselves have binders in them. This is all very true, very, very true. I can only tell you my own experience, and I'm not going to name brands, but I have at different times in my life used paints that I don't know what they were thinned down with, but they were marketed as Reborn paints, and I found them over time to fade. And one of the marketable aspects of those paints were that you could thin them with water, and that was all you had to use. or you could use water and a little bit of their matting type agent, and that was all you had to use. So I learned along the way, and this was by my own experience. When we first started painting, when I first started experimenting with air dry paints many years ago, I experimented with Joe Sonja's, and I love Joe Sonja's paints. Joe Sonja's is a brand you can coordinate with this, with the RebornFX products and the emulsion and use, and it works fine. But the Joe Sonja's paints back then, we were all painting with them, just thinning them down with water, like we did, and to the point that you had a watercolor wash like we did with that looked like with Genesis, and we were painting with them like that. Many of us were mixing our paints with water, put them in jars, and oh, we've got our red color we want, we got our blue color we want, let me store it that way. I found out with time that the blues on the babies and the reds on the babies were fading, and so I freaked, because I was like, oh no, Joe Sonja's is not a good paint for painting babies with, it will fade. And so I laid it aside and went back to using my Genesis, and it wasn't until about 2 or 3 years later that I started investigating things, and I started hearing about other people who were using Joe Sonja's, for example, and they were having babies that were not fading. And mostly, I think it's over in other countries that they've been using a lot of the Joe Sonja's, because that's what's available to them there. And so I'm like, why is it working for them and not for me? Why were they okay with it and I was not? So that was when I really started investigating things and reading and studying everything I could about air dry paints, the aspects of air dry paints, air dry products, the differences between craft grade and artist grade and things like that. And that was when I learned that that as wonderfully pigmented and strong as the artist grade paints like Liquitex Golden and Joe Sonja's, or some of these others artist grade, I think there's, you know, different other brands, as wonderful as they are, that if you thin them down with too much water, you run the risk of breaking down the pigments, and if you store them in water, you definitely run the risk of breaking down the pigment binders. So I said that to say this. You can get away with thinning a paint down a lot and making a water wash for a layer or two and sandwiching it between other layers that are more rich in binders, and you can get away with that. But to do all your painting with just water thinned paint, you run the risk of the possibility of it fading later on. Now, I know there are some people who say they've been able to do that and not have any problems. I don't know what their method is that they're able to not have problems. I will just say that it's not something I recommend. So I would recommend, at the very least, if you're one of these that really likes working with your thinned out paint with thinned out water, one of the things I recommend is to just add a drop or two of some other binder in there. I know with the RebornFX paints that I have really played around, and especially with this last tutorial, I worked more with thinning the paints down with more water and less, and not using like dilutant, but just using like the distilled water and adding a drop or two of emulsion back, which is kind of the way I went with my first tutorial I did. And that has worked fine. So you can definitely do that. You just don't want to use all water to thin. You want to add something else to control the binding agent. So if you're using an over-the-counter artist grade type paint and you're thinning it with water and you don't have any RebornFX products, go get something, whether it be a fluid matte medium, a glazing gel, or ultra matte gel by Liquitex. And a lot of people who like to thin with water like to use Liquitex ultra matte gel, because you can thin it out with the water, it stays matte, it doesn't add shine back in, and it helps the paints to adhere. So use something like that so that you don't run the risk of breaking down your binders. And definitely try to not water your pigments down so much. Try to learn how to paint with them a little bit stronger, and how to apply and then pounce and back it off with like you sort of apply it and then use a damp sponge or something to lift off if you get it a little bit too strong. So that's my whole little spiel on that. Does anybody have any questions about anything before I go? I was looking around my room to see if there was anything. I tried to lay everything out before we start to show you everything that I wanted to talk about. I don't see anything that I missed. Anybody have any questions or comments at this point? Let's see. Betty Ann says, are those FX paints sold in the U.S. or out of the US, I was thinking about switching to air dry. That's a good question. Right now, this is Macpherson's Arts and Crafts paints that they develop. They have a company that they have worked with that developed these paints specifically for them, and they have the copyright on these paints. So at this time, they are only available through them, and as far as I know, I don't think they have any plans of making them available through the United States. I think that they're in Canada. However, they have, if you order $100 or more order, then you get free U.S. shipping. And so they will ship it to you. It's usually, everything I've gotten from them comes FedEx. And if they don't, if you didn't order $100 worth of product to get your free shipping, I have not found their shipping prices to be outrageous at all. They are very fair. I mean, I've ordered things like just needed a jar of sealer, or just needed a color or two of something, and they ship it the best way they can, the most inexpensive way they can. And if it's just one or two small things, they've asked me, you know, would you be okay with us just shipping it, you know, first class mail, because it'll be cheaper, it'll take longer to get there. But, and I'm like, yeah, you know, so they're really good about working about the shipping to try to get you the best price on shipping. And then everything else, like I said, I've gotten has come FedEx. So I just try to time it where I can order as much as I can at one time when I need, and try to order in larger amounts, and try to think ahead so that I can take advantage of the $100 free shipping. And of course, if you're ordering a kit through them, the kits, you know, if you get a really nice kit, by the time you get that, you've hit your $100, and then you can add on your paints or your pan pastels, which they're selling now, or whatever else you need. And they have lots of other products that they sell as well. Do they have starter kits? They have a kit, and I'm going to look on my computer right now while I'm talking to you guys, but I don't have my computer locked into my screen, so you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing. So you're going to have to take my word for it, but I'm looking to see, because I know they have a couple of kits, but I can't remember if it's specifically a starter kit. So if you go to MacPhersonCrafts.com, that's their website, and then you click on RebornFX as the icon, and then it'll say RebornFX air dry paints, air dry liquid pigments, mediums, air dry sets. If you click on RebornFX air dry sets, this is what they have. They do have a beginner full set, and the price of the beginner full set is $150. That's $150, so you get free shipping. And that comes with, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What's that? 10 or 11 colors. Let's see. And then all the mediums. And actually, the beginner full set is the set that they designed to go with my tutorial that is on their website. So it is all the colors that I used in that tutorial. So go and look at that tutorial, and look and see if you might want to paint that baby. Then all the colors, the mediums you need. It also comes with the little sponges that are the sponges that I use for my mottling, which are I don't know if I have one made here to show you, but they're, yeah, the sponges like this. It comes with these porous sponges. You get a couple of little sponge squares with it. You get, looking at it now, you get the mediums, you get a few wedges, you get a few craft sticks, and you get a few, looks like a few Q-tips, and looks like 4 paint brushes. So you get several things in that set, and that one's $150. If you look, they also have a RebornFX Air Deluxe Trial Kit. If you click on that, it's $175. You get 30 colors. They're ½ ounce each of color, 5 1 ounce of mediums, plus you get other things to go with it. So that one is $175. Looks like under product details, if you click that, it tells exactly everything that's in the kit. It tells you all the colors. It has the correction fluid, the primer, the emulsion, dilute, matting fluid, 2-in-1 final coat. open time, and so that's, and it's got, like I said, 30 colors. So that's a good way to try all the colors for $175. And then they have the reflective set. They have a Genesis heat set paints basic color set, which is the colors that if you're used to painting with Genesis and you're switching, you want colors that are color matches to what you're used to using with Genesis. That set is $125. And if you click on the product details, it comes with Flash 7, Flash 8, Flash 08, Flash 7, Burnt Umber, Power Red 2, Ultramarine Blue, Dioxine Purple 4, Pale Blue Wash, Mint Wash, Primer Sealer, Matting Fluid, Paint Dilutant, Correction Fluid, Matte Varnish, and 3 mLs of Gloss Varnish. That set is $125. So, you, like I said, just go there and look at the sets. There's some other things there that they have a hair painting kit. They have, well, I told you wrong. The beginner full set is not the one that goes in my tutorial, but they were just mentioning my tutorial in it. On further down here, they have what they call a RebornFX kit for Little Dumplings Nursery tutorial. That kit is $110. So I said that wrong a while ago. So you just like I said, go there and look and see what you think. And then the shimmer set of 3, there's 3 little bottles of shimmer paint, and all these paints are the pre-mixed colors. They do sell the separate pigments, like I said before. And I think I've showed you guys before. Let me grab. I've got a couple of bottles of the pigments, and the pigments come in like little bitty bottles that literally is nothing but pure paint pigment. It has no emulsion, no nothing added to it. So you have to add whatever you want to it. It has no, if you buy artist grade, like the fluid acrylics and all, like I showed you a while ago, like the golden, if you buy these, they have, which is the equivalent to an emulsion, they have a product mixed in with the pigment. But this is just a liquid pigment. I'm trying to be careful not to drop this, but it's in a dropper. And the liquid pigment, by its own natural makeup, is it is shinier. It has a good bit of a little more sheen because there's no adding agent or anything added to this. But some people really like the liquid pigments, and they've been taking the liquid pigments and mixing it with a little emulsion, and they can control how much emulsion goes into it, or mixing it with whatever else they're using, if they're using ultra matte gel or whatever, and water, and they're liking that, using it that way. I honestly have not played around with that much. I've got these and I've used them. I've only got like a red, blue, yellow, and then this burnt umber, and I've used them to tint other colors a little bit, but I haven't played around with actually painting with them. But so that's the other option if you want to look into going the route of just the pure pigments. Let's see, any other questions? Alrighty. Looks like that's pretty much it. I don't see any more comments. You're welcome, Betty Ann. That's pretty much, I guess, everything I had to share for today. And oh, I had one more question that was asked to me the other day. I wanted to be sure to share this. I did. I sold a baby to a lady the other day, and she wanted to know what made my baby smell so good. And so I told her it was the Johnson's & Johnson's baby cologne. And so I bought this bottle from Dolls by Sandy, but I looked and you can buy it from Amazon, and it's probably available in stores. I don't know. But this one that I have is the light scent, and it has a combination of I would say, it smells like Johnson's baby oil or something. It has that baby powder scent, but it also has a lavender undertone, and it's really nice, and it's not real strong because it's designed for a baby, so you wouldn't want to put a real strong perfume on a baby. And I thought it when I first learned about it, I was like, oh, they actually make perfume for babies, which is kind of funny to me. But anyway, of course, we all know sometimes they have little stinky poos going on. But what I do with it is I put it in a spray bottle, like one of these little, oh goodness, I'm having a hard time keeping up with everything today. But anyway, the little short spray bottles I can get at the dollar store, you can get, I don't know where mine is, that you can put things in. And so I have done a couple of things with it. I have actually put a little bit of this into a spray bottle and mixed water with it and spritzed baby's hair that had actually real mohair and styled it. But you can use this straight. Don't water it down, and then you can just spritz the baby's blanket with it. The outfit the baby's going to wear, you can spritz the baby's diaper. Let it dry before you put it on the baby, because you don't want anything wet or chemical to come in contact with your baby's skin. But once it's dry, it's fine. And so I lightly I spritz this on a little bit on the baby clothes, or sometimes I'll spritz it on a cotton ball and stick it in the bucket where my baby's clothing is stored and that kind of thing. So you just get a nice little baby powder, sweet baby smell from this product. So that's what I'm using. And so one of the moms of one of the babies that was getting it for her daughter for Christmas was wanting to know. So hopefully you're watching. And that's it. I hope you guys have a great Saturday. I hope you have, Sunday. Today's Sunday. And I hope you once again have a fabulous Thanksgiving. And I will be seeing you guys after Thanksgiving is over. And we'll be talking about Christmas, I'm sure. And everybody have a great day. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.